Hey, this is just a quick video to explain the new health and safety form. So we have wanted to make some changes to our health and safety form for a little while. Primarily, we needed to make those changes so that we could better document any pre-existing health conditions, but we also took the opportunity to address some of the other issues that we have wanted to change or needed to change on the form. And I just wanted to go through some of those things really quickly to show you how the new form should work. So this is the form that you would fill out by hand. I am working on an electronic form that may be slightly different, but anyway, I'm just talking about this handwritten form for now. So on page number 1, right where you'd put the client's name, the energy auditor that did the assessment, and the date of the assessment, the very first thing that comes up is that pre-existing health conditions. So energy auditors, your responsibility is to ask the client this question. You just read it right off the form. You say, we'll be doing some work in your home that may generate a lot of dust and noise during installation. Are there any members of your household with health conditions that might put them at risk during this work? And then if their response is no, then you check none and you're done, and you've documented that you asked them that question. If they say yes, then you would select all of the appropriate boxes so that we know what the agency's responsibilities are and what the client's responsibilities are to prevent that issue. So you check the box here that says that a household member does have a pre-existing health condition that may be aggravated during weatherization. I tried to come up with something that you could quickly check off that would work in most scenarios. So if you want to, you can check these boxes here. Agency responsibility. Agency will inform the client before installing weatherization measures that will cause dust so they can take the necessary precautions. And then the client's responsibilities most often could be that the client will arrange for the at-risk household member to be out of the home during weatherization. If you need to have them take some other approach, check the box that says other and write out what that approach is, either for the agency or the client or both. So if you'll make sure and fill that out appropriately, then we will be able to document what our plan is when we find pre-existing health conditions per DOE's guidelines. A couple of other things here is I put that right on the same page with the client's signature. It also, this is just like the old form, there's the list of all the measures that you found, the location, the agency's responsibilities, the client's responsibilities. So when the client signs this page, this should be a pretty comprehensive piece of information. Should have everything on there that you're planning on doing for health and safety, what their responsibilities are for all of those things. Also, if you had a deferral, we put that front and center as well, just to let you know it's okay to defer a job for the right reasons. So if you run into that issue, go ahead and you can use this part of the form if you'd like to, so that it'll direct your discussion with the client. And then the rest of the form is really the actual assessment part of it. So before it was only 2 pages. Yes, this is a longer form. It takes up a little more real estate. I apologize for that. I hope that it is a better form. What we did is, instead of having, just each of the areas and kind of some general things about each of those areas, we went through and we figured out what the most common health and safety measures were across the program, and we tried to include each of them on this form. So it's kind of a punch list. You can kind of go down and say, these are the most common things. Do we have any of these issues on the house? For example, let's go down to this water heater section. So under the water heater, you're either going to check that the water heater is operating and venting properly, or it would have one of these common issues going on. If it fails to draft under worst case, then you'd check that box, and then you'd go down this list, and these are the names of health and safety measures. And you would pick the appropriate health and safety measure or measures that you plan to do to fix the issue. And then if you have any notes, you put the notes over here. If the water heater is producing high CO, you check this box, and then you check whatever appropriate box. You're either going to do a clean and tune, or you're going to replace the water heater, and then make any notes about that. Anyway, my hope is that this will allow you to more quickly identify things that we can actually address in weatherization, and that we won't miss any opportunities for things that we should address in weatherization. So give it a try and give me some feedback. If you come across anything that is missing, make a note of it, send me an email or a text about it, and we will consider it. Please bear in mind, though, that this should only be a list of allowable health and safety measures that are common. 90% of the time we're going to see them on a job. We don't want to put a ton of anomaly stuff on this form. There is a spot, or should be a spot, for most of these different measures. If you do come up with an other, you can list that there. Just remember, anytime you're listing a health and safety measure, it must meet the definition of a health and safety measure. So all of those rules apply. Also note that the title of this form, it says, this is A07, but it says Health and Safety and Itemized Cost Inspection Form. There are some instances where you won't be able to do something as a health and safety measure, and so I've tried to also list the most common non-audited measures that have been listed, not just on the health and safety form, but on all audits for the last, I think I picked a year, and we just picked out the most common that we've been using lately. So I've added non-audited measures and a few other measures that you may want to consider. So in addition to a health and safety evaluation, this is kind of like you've gathered all the information to run your energy audit, and now if you'll run down this list, and this should help you identify most of the other opportunities to do any other weatherization measure. So as you're using this, if you think of any other non-audited measures, let me know. One other thing to note, you'll see that there is a new acronym here that is ASM. That stands for Air Sealing Measure. There are a few items when you are looking at, for example, your air conditioner that they are not a health and safety measure. They're not really their own non-audited measure. They should be part of your air sealing strategy. And so I have identified them as such. If you check the box there, then that just should serve as a reminder for you to remember to include them in your air sealing strategy. So hopefully something like that will be helpful. Since this is something new, I hope to get a little feedback from the program, and we might be able to add a few more of those measures or instances to this form to help you guys to more quickly document the opportunities when you're evaluating a home. All right, thank you.